Welcome back to the Duncanville Fieldhouse here outside Dallas, Texas. The final game of our coverage here at the NTX International Combine. And we've got a good one for you. The Grizzlies, coached by Mo Evans, a 10-year NBA veteran, will take on the Sixers, coached by 20-year NBA assistant coach Melvin Hunt. Some big-time players on these two teams. We saw a nice win for the Sixers team yesterday. Epi Odeji out of SMU, spent a long time at UTEP. He flashed big time. Jaden Gardner out of Virginia, an all-ACC player. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jalen Moore, who played more minutes per game of any college player in the last 15 years, will lead this Grizzlies team. And they've got a new acquisition, Ricky Lindo Jr., acquired via a trade, I was told, to make up for an injury that they had. So it'll be 7-on-7 for this game.
Yeah, well, Angelo Allegri, unfortunately, was lost to injury yesterday and unable to go again today. So they needed to balance it out because otherwise they were only going to have 6 players. So it's a good decision to move Ricky Lindo Jr. over, and, we'll see how this thing shakes out. But, it's the same matchup almost that we saw in the first game in terms of the outcome, right? Because you got one team that's 1-0 against another team that's 0-1. And in the first game, we saw the Spurs finish off at 2-0 to leave the combine, while the Rockets are going to leave town 0-2.
Spurs came back from a 16-point deficit, won 91-87. It was a great game. We'll see if we can replicate that here as Ricky Lindo Jr. wins the opening tip for his new team. It's the Grizzlies in white and the Sixers in blue here in game number 2. And here is Jalen Moore out of Oakland, played 38 minutes a game over the last 3 seasons. Standing by is a special guest with Kendra Sheehan, the third member of our broadcast team. Kendra?
Thanks. I'm standing by with assistant coach Alex Zampier of last game, the team, the Spurs. And you've coached in the NBA. You've been a part of the league. When you look at this type of event, the Combine, for guys who are looking to get noticed, what is the biggest thing from your perspective that scouts are looking for?
I think our job as coaches here is just to try to prepare them. A lot of these guys will be playing roles that aren't particularly glamorous. So just preparing them for that grind that they're going to face, and it's just making sure that guys are approaching it the right way, being professionals, playing as hard as they can, and being grateful for any opportunity that they do get.
How difficult is it for these guys to come in? They haven't played with each other before this. Some guys were obviously on teams together, but for them to be able to gel and also be able to showcase themselves individually while also still playing that team basketball.
Yeah, I think part of their ability to showcase who they are is to relate to their guys quickly. In the NBA and the G League and overseas, there's a lot of movement. So it's part of being a pro is just understanding who your teammates are as quick as you can so you guys can play together and get the most out of the group.
Now, there were scouts here this morning. They won't be able to be here for these games. What exactly are the scouts looking at the most? Are they watching these games? Are they looking at those 3-on-3 drills, the exercises for athleticism? What is the biggest things that they're looking for when they're trying to pick out some of the top prospects?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of everything. Again, I think from a camp like this, it's character. Who can go into an organization and bring the level of the group up as far as their competitiveness, their professionalism. I think at times guys think it's about skill or making shots or points, and it's not really all about that sometimes. So I think scouts are looking for guys that are going to bring the level of competitiveness of their group a little bit higher.
Lastly, what's the biggest piece of advice that you've given to some of these young men who are looking to fulfill childhood dreams?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a journey. You're going to have good days and bad days. Stay locked in. Rely on who your support staff is or whoever you love and whoever loves you, and to try to receive genuine, truthful answers about how they played. And again, just staying positive going forward. It's going to be good days and bad days, missed shots, made shots. They're going to have a lot of workouts. Just put your best step forward the next time you get an opportunity.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll send it back over to you, Evan.
Thank you very much, Kendra and Alex Zampier. How about Ricky Lindo Jr. impressing his new team with 5 points?
Didn't make a 3 yesterday, but he had his first one of the day today. Maybe he just needed the trade.
Lindo, a former Maryland Terrapin, spent the last 3 years at George Washington. There's Odeji for 3. He was maybe the most impressive player to my eyes yesterday. Just a fantastic day at 18 and 9 in 15 minutes. And he gets the start today.
That was what flew off the stat sheet at me, was how productive he was in such limited minutes.
Boogie Anderson. It's no good. Odeji got a piece of the rebound, but it's down to Marquise Godwin. Rudy Williams, he had 25 in their game yesterday. Misses his first shot. He was living in that little mid-range and getting to the rim.
Yeah, Williams, he certainly showed his ability to score the basketball. Made a couple of nice defensive plays yesterday as well.
Made all 10 of his free throws as well. Otoji mid-range, Jay, that is butter.
Well, Efe Otoji wants to be a repeat performer as player of the game early on here.
Came in at 6'8", 264 with 10.5-inch hands. There's a three.
Everything is going in right now for both these teams to start this game. Shades of what we saw in game one of the day earlier.
Godwin with 6. It's a 13-8 lead for the Grizzlies. Seneca Knight just eaten up by Moore and Lindo Jr.
Seneca Knight, a late addition to this combine. Came up to me before the game. We didn't have him on our roster yesterday. As you see Godwin make another. We didn't have him on our roster yesterday, and we were like, did Reggie Chaney change his number? And then we figured out it wasn't Reggie Chaney. Then we finally figured out it was Seneca Knight, and he came over to me right before this game, shook my hand, and said, "Hi, I'm Seneca Knight."
Otoji well short with that three. Yeah, he had a nice game too. Was very impressive. Lindo Jr. another 2. He's got 7. Yeah, Knight yesterday at 13 points. Made 5 of 9 from the floor.
Out of Illinois State. Played at San Jose State and BYU prior to that.
Also spent a semester at LSU for academics when he wanted to be a little closer to home after opting out of the pandemic season.
Otoji, that's a little bit too easy. Not much resistance being offered there by Lindo Jr.
He makes everything look easy, Efe Otoji. He was so impressive in yesterday's game. Lindo Jr. challenging Otoji. Gets the hook up over him, but doesn't go.
And nice awareness there by Otoji that his teammate Gardner had to fight through that screen, and then all of a sudden his man was left all alone, so Otoji came over and picked him up.
Here's Gardner, former ACC All-Tournament first team. Draws the contact. Will that bucket count?
It should count.
It will. So it's an and one, and the foul on Lindo Jr.
Yeah, you could have also called the foul there, obviously, on Rudy Williams, but either way, you got to. They didn't count it.
Now
I don't
they're
know
not counting
wow.
it. We heard shooting one, but they would not call that a shooting foul. Adams for 3, no good. Look at the NBA, that's clearly an and one.
He had gathered and kind of started his shot motion. Now, granted, it got stopped because of the reach and foul, but he fought through it and finished. And you don't blow the play dead. In any case.
Well, on we go. Godwin, who can't miss right now, just in and out. Brendan Adams. He pulls up for 3. That's good. He airballed his last one. I think he wanted it back.
And you got to have a short memory, right? You're only as good as the next shot. Whatever you did on the last shot, make or miss, does not matter.
Adams had kind of an up-and-down college career at UConn and then George Washington until he broke out last year. Was named the most improved player in the Atlantic 10. 17.5 points a game. Gerald Liddell misses a mid-range 2. Now Boogie Anderson can't make the finish. Now it's Jalen Moore going the other way. Moore dumps it off after faking the step back 3. Jaron Holmes into the game out of Iowa State. Sanders for 3. And the rebound down to Otoji. Leak out by Gardner. That'll count. First 2 for Jaden Gardner.
And suddenly just back to a 2-point game here.
Moore spinning, kicking to nobody as Godwin had moved to the wing.
And that I'm gonna say that that's a testament to the fact that these guys just haven't played together that much. You expect that guy's going to stay in the corner, and Jalen Moore did what he was supposed to do, thinking he's going to have a guy open for a corner 3. But when Godwin moved out of the way, thinking he'd go to the wing, that's just not playing together that much.
Michael Cooper now running the show, the 5'11" point guard. And a big lob and jam.
Isaiah Moore, he had some moments yesterday. Gets his first big one right there, Evan. That was a whole lot of fun, being set up beautifully by Cooper.
Godwin, the three, in and out again. Just missed his last two. Here goes Knight on the break. They've tied the game. Here is Moore, gives him the lead.
And the athleticism by Knight on that, really impressive. Great ball control, puts it right in the spot where Moore could get the easy bucket.
Moore, a former junior college All-American who played at 5 different schools in 5 years. Jalen Moore, no good. And a rebound by Knight. It's all Sixers now after the early burst from the Grizzlies. Gardner, feet on the line, no good.
And the pace right now by both these teams is just unbelievable. This thing is a track meet. Finally get a stoppage, this clock. It's almost like it's been running time because these teams have just been running.
It's been that way all week. The 2 games yesterday and today, as we've got a timeout here, it looks like, for everybody to catch their breath. But you can tell this opportunity means everything to these guys.
Yeah, these guys are, they know how important this is. I mean, you don't get another shot at this, right? This is a chance to make your first impression coming out of college and coming to this combine and having a chance to see if you can open enough eyes to get an invite to the next step, which, as we discussed, will be in Chicago starting on May 13th with the G League Elite Camp and then the NBA camp a couple of days after that. So, and we're a month and change away from the actual NBA draft.
Coming up in middle of June. The draft lottery is next Tuesday. So it is that time of year where everybody is really drilling down, figuring out what prospects they're interested in. That doesn't just go for the NBA teams. That goes down to the G League. And this is the international combine as well, because those overseas scouts, there's a lot of teams in Europe who are taking a look at these guys, and some of them will certainly spend time across the pond.
And, for a lot of these guys, too, it becomes an issue with, do you want to take a training camp invite? You want to go to the Summer League, but do you want to take a training camp invite, or do you want to have the guaranteed paycheck over in Europe?
Let's go over to Kendra, what she's hearing from the benches. Kendra?
Yeah, I actually got a chance to talk to head coach Melvin Hunt earlier today, and I asked him about what they're looking for out of these guys during this combine, and he said 3 things. 1, play hard. 2, play together. And 3, apply what we talk about in the sidelines to the game. I then asked him, how do these players navigate that fine line of wanting to showcase their talent but also playing that team basketball? And he said, look, it's those same 3 things. The minute you drift away from those, you expose yourself. You don't want to be a player and play a different style of game than you're used to. Play the way that you play. Remember those 3 things, and he said you'll be just fine. Evan?
Yeah, that's pretty simple, but pretty effective there from Melvin Hunt.
Easier to say than to do, that is for sure. But right now, both these teams have been putting that into practice. Liking Cooper off the dribble right there, getting aggressive.
Cooper did not score yesterday, but he did a lot of things well. Had 7 assists, facilitated for his team.
Played 20 minutes. He only took 4 shots, 7. They were all from three-point range.
There's Rudy Williams with his first 2. Williams played last year at BYU. Cooper misses a 3. It's rebounded by Williams. Challenging Cooper, and a blocking foul. Count the basket for Rudy Williams.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, it looked to me like he was still sliding, and he also might not have been clear of the restricted area there as well. So there might have been two hooks there on him. Well, yeah, he was outside, but he was clearly still moving. So that's an easy call for the officials to call the block.
Sixers back in the lead after, or the Grizzlies rather, back in the lead after the Sixers had made a run. Williams drains the free throw. He's made all 11 he's taken here at the NTX Combine.
Getting to the line 11 times, I mean, that's a big thing that we talked about in the first game today.
Seneca Knight, step back 2, no good. Tough shot. Jaron Holmes pull-up three. Way short. Isaiah Moore with a rebound.
Kind of feel like Holmes made his decision. He was going to pull up from three before he even got across midcourt that time.
Lindo Jr. off the miss by Moore. Sanders the lob. Holmes can't put it in, but he'll get a second try, and no mistake this time. Melvin Hunt calling for his team to slow things up. 7-point lead for the Grizzlies. Isaiah Moore for three. Drills it.
Well, he showed the range yesterday. He knocked one down from outside the arc. 33% out there last season.
Lindo Jr. a little bit short. Both of these guys fancy themselves as stretch bigs. Gardner stripped of the ball. It'll stay with the Sixers.
You almost need to be a stretch big in today's NBA, though. I mean, the traditional big, as you know, Evan, it's not really a big part of the game anymore. If you cannot stretch the defense, then you're going to be limited in your ability to impact the game unless you're at the upper echelon of that position.
There are very few of those guys, traditional bigs, left.
Nice defense on this possession being shown by the Grizzlies.
Shot clock down to 3. Cooper pulls up from 25, misses short. Anderson with the putback.
That thing just barely touched the rim.
Not sure how Anderson managed to get his way in there and get the ball. Holmes from the corner. That's no good. And Sanders fighting for the rebound, but he's the last to touch it.
Things had to slow down a little bit because that pace they were going at for a few minutes was unsustainable.
And everything was going in. Adams. Oh, he had no teammate there. Here goes Sanders. Challenging Anderson. Missed the dunk. Cooper the rebound. Puts it out to Adams. Wide open for three. Missed it. Rebound Odeji and the foul.
And Odeji had position all along and takes advantage. And in that sequence, I don't mind that three-point try because you know you got Odeji under there. You got another player coming down the court as well. You got numbers. You're already open there on the wing. So I was okay with that three in transition because you had a pretty good chance to get an offensive rebound off of a miss.
Odeji, another guy who can do just about everything. We've seen him knock down a couple of long jumpers here today. He missed his free throw, but last year he was top 10 in the American in rebounds and field goal percentage. He was first team All Sun Belt the season prior to that at Troy. And a turnover here by the Grizzlies, and suddenly the Sixers have erased a 7-point gap to tie the game.
I think both coaches like seeing the players getting out and run, but they also want to see what they can do in some of these half-court sets.
Cooper to Anderson, little floater, no good. Big rebound from Moore. Holmes got a piece, jump ball.
Yeah, nice defensive instincts there to come up and get the hand on the basketball and force the jump ball.
The arrow will send it to the Grizzlies.
And so then this is more of a college rule, as they really an interesting set of rules that they've used here this week, right?
It really is a hybrid.
Yeah, you've got some NBA rules. You got the NBA shot clock, the NBA three-point line. But you know, you've got no sense jumping it up, I suppose.
Liddell blocked by Moore, no, a foul.
Moore thought he had a clean block, but he got a little bit of the arm as well.
We don't have a measurement on Isaiah Moore, but I have to imagine he was right there with Kevin Samuel as the tallest player at this combine. His collegiate listed height was 6'10".
33-inch vertical leap for Isaiah Moore.
I do wish we had the height and the wingspan on him, though, because I would imagine it's a pretty impressive number. 1 out of 2 at the line for Liddell. Moore catches in good position. Oh, he jumped.
Wow, he had position. He had everything he needed right there, and he just and you know what? Credit Rudy Williams for baiting him into a turnover. Rudy was beat.
And Rudy Williams is also a good 8 inches shorter than Isaiah Moore. Holmes open for 3. He's been trying to get that to go, hasn't yet. Jalen Moore sneaks in for the putback. And gets his hand on that outlet pass.
Yeah, Moore's got some quicks, there's no question. I don't know how he snuck in for that last rebound on the other end.
They list him at 5'11", but he measured better than that. He came in at 6 foot and half an inch. Odeji turnaround jumper, no good. Rebounded by Moore. Here he goes in transition to Liddell for the jam.
Liddell with a 7'2" wingspan. And did a nice job, gets paid. You run the floor as a big. More times than not, you're going to have good things happen.
Odeji against Holmes. He's clearly trying to get that jump shot going. He made a couple early, but he misses there. Williams, great cut by Jalen Moore, nobody with him.
And Williams saw him wide open, so that was an easy play for Rudy Williams. And this thing suddenly a 7-point lead. Evan is they've got things going a little bit and forcing the timeout call.
Yeah, Melvin Hunt is going to talk things over after their 7-0 run on the Spurs side, or the Sixers side, was immediately answered by the Grizzlies. So many great stories here among these teams. For another one, this time Boogie Anderson. Here's Kendra Sheehan.
First instilled in him by his father, who is Mike Anderson. He was the 2000 NFL Rookie of the Year for the Denver Broncos. And Boogie said he would just rave about his father. In his eyes, his dad could do no wrong. But Boogie chose basketball instead of following in his father's footsteps. And when the offers didn't come out of high school, he took the JUCO route. And perseverance pays off. After 2 seasons at Scottsdale Community College, that Division I scholarship came. And you know what? The first person he called? His father, who was so happy for him, saying, you just have to stay with it. And now here he is persevering once again for that pro basketball dream. And if you're wondering about Boogie, the nickname, it comes from his mom, who was given it to him by his sweet dancing moves and his good, sweet feet that he has when any sort of music comes on the floor. Evan?
Thanks, Kendra. He certainly shows him off on the basketball court as well. His dad, Mike Anderson, that rookie year in 2000, one of the more impressive seasons from a rookie running back in NFL history. Ran for almost 1,500 yards, 5 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns.
And you know what I remember most about that? He was a waiver wire fantasy pickup for me, and I crushed it. So thank you very much, Mike Anderson. And the salute, right? He had the salute. Mm-hmm. That was the best.
That was big shoes to fill, too, with Terrell Davis retiring. Rudy Williams out of the corner, drills a triple. Now, right after Michael Cooper hit one on the other end, Williams pushes the lead right back out to 7. 8 points for Rudy Williams in the first half. Seneca Knight charging inside. Little floater is good.
I'll tell you what, Seneca Knight really has impressed me these couple of days. For a guy who he didn't even know was in camp to a guy that is making everybody know that he's here at this combine.
Williams, a little sloppy there. Interesting, the Sixers came out without either of their bigs on the floor. Knight with kind of the shot pass there. Gardner able to save it. Here is Adams on the take. Nicely done. Brendan Adams with a strong finish.
Well, Gardner was smart, right? He tried to save the basketball, and he threw it to where he might have some help.
Jalen Moore forces his way in for 2 more. He's got 8. A little more assertive today than what we saw from him yesterday. Cooper, left to his own devices, drills the 3.
Ooh, how about that range out of Michael Cooper?
Got a 25-footer there. from the youngster out of Milwaukee. It's a D2 player out of Purdue Northwest.
The no look there, but it's taken away.
Adams with the steal. Cooper again. Miss what would have given them the lead. Rebound by Ricky Lindo Jr. Jaron Holmes runs over Cooper.
Wow, and no whistle. So,
Well, Holmes has about 5 inches and roughly 55 pounds
I was
on
going to guess
Michael
50.
Cooper.
I saw you looking it up, so I was going to wait. I was going to guess 50.
Williams, nice feed ahead by Godwin, and Williams into double figures here in the first half. He just goes about his business, doesn't he?
And then you look down at the stat sheet and you're like, oh, wait, he's got what?
Yeah. Really nice player. They'll wave that off. Offensive foul on Seneca Knight.
Yeah, I need to see another one look at that. I thought that was that might have been a good acting job right there. Take another look. Yeah, that's give them. He got him down low, but I'd say give that man an Oscar, man. He definitely embellished it. That's you don't go over that easily.
We just talked about how big he is too.
Yes.
He's a rocket, about 6'4", 210 pounds.
But hey, that's part of the game too, right? I mean, the gamesmanship, that's part of the league. You see calls like that all the time in the NBA.
And that's part of any sport, frankly. You know, it's not just a basketball thing.
Yeah, you call a lot of soccer. I mean, guys
Oh,
stay
yes.
down on the pitch for a long time in soccer.
My favorite bit is when they'll take a foul and then the referee will play on and they won't stop the play because the team still has the advantage. They have to pop right back up and get back into it.
I'm fine. How about the handle and the dish?
Isaiah Moore to Jaden Gardner.
I like that out of Isaiah Moore. I like what I've seen out of him. He's got some talent.
Certainly has the length and the athleticism. Godwin, another three, his third of the half. He shot the ball well in the last 2 days. He's a guy that Pete Michael talked about coming out of an HBCU in Hampton. He's a local kid, Hampton, Virginia, who was really impressed.
Williams sensing that his team had numbers, pushed the pace, but they're unable to take advantage of it there, Evan. And I like the assertiveness, though, by Williams to get it up the floor.
Adams early three. Anderson the rebound. And how about Ricky Lindo Jr. stuffing it away from Gardner? Adams another triple. That's no good. Another offensive rebound. Gardner forces it down low to Anderson. They kick it out.
Nice closeout there to deny Knight the three.
And then the long three from the corner missed by Gardner.
Marquise Godwin, he made that defensive stop happen.
Moore, another good play on Jalen Moore. Now it's Adams attacking Williams, slows up, and Isaiah Moore draws the foul.
Well, we've gotten back to the track meet portion of the festivities.
Isaiah Moore is going to shoot a pair here with his team down 7. The foul on Ricky Lindo Jr. Efe Otoji getting ready to come back in for the last 84 seconds of this first half.
Yeah, the minutes for ODG have not been abundant, but the production in those minutes has been really impressive throughout this combine.
Otoji will come on for Anderson, so they'll have both bigs in here, along with Adams, Gardner, and Knight. This is one of the bigger lineups that Melvin Hunt can use. It's Jalen Moore, Sanders, Godwin, Liddell, and Lindo Jr. for the Grizzlies. 2 out of 2 for Moore. He's got 9 here in the first half. Another impressive performance from that young man.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a long look at some, opportunity with the NBA here, the G League certainly, and international scouts are going to be drooling to have him come play overseas if it doesn't work out domestically.
Otoji on the leak out, couldn't control it, but he throws it back. Adams draws the foul.
a rare whistle because we've seen so many plays here where I just think the whistle's going to blow and it's not. And I don't know if there was a mantra here to, hey, let guys play a little bit looser than normal, because that's been the theme. But it has been the same officiating crew too, so you haven't had a change.
And they've been consistent.
They have been consistent. And that's all you want, right?
Yep.
Is be consistent on both ends.
There's always going to be subjectivity in refereeing. There's no objective, perfect standard, and they have laid out the way this was going to go, and it's gone that way the whole time.
Why anybody ever would want to be a referee?
No, that is a thankless job. More thankless than being the broadcaster.
You never get it right if you're a referee. Never get it right.
It's like a weatherman, right? People only care when you're wrong.
100%.
Adams gets both free throws. That makes it a 3-point game. Godwin stepping behind the line in the corner. Short. Sanders collects the board in traffic. Sanders fadeaway jumper is good. His first two. Isaiah Sanders at a D2 Fairmont State.
Yeah, he's shown some flashes. Was really good and played within himself there to get that shot. More at the late contest. I like Sanders right now is talking on defense too. That's something you love to hear.
Knight gets the screen from Otoji. Moore from the corner, and Lindo Jr. got a hand up there to block the shot and force the shot clock violation.
Yeah, Lindo Jr. gets there just in the nick of time, because the second effort would have counted, but the clock went off in between. And still 4.6 seconds left here in the half, Evan, so.
Mo Evans wants to drop a play here.
Why not? But I really, going back to what we saw to Sanders, I mean, I liked he played within himself on the offensive end and then came back down and was talking on defense. And that is something that will always get the coach's attention. They want players that are going to talk. And sometimes, hey, you might not be calling the right play set. You may not be calling exactly what the coaching staff wants, especially if you're still learning things. But the fact that you're showing an assertive nature to be able to do that, because again, those things can be correctable. And maybe if you're the defensive captain out there and you call something and it's not the coverage that the coach necessarily wants, still might work, just as long as everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, and again, guys who do that, they tend to be the ones who really think about the game, who understand defense, and who care on that end the most. Isaiah Sanders has worked his way here from the D2 level. He's certainly put in the effort and the hours.
A lot of offense has been scored in this opening half. 93 points on the board. I mean, the offense in general has been very high in all these games.
Certainly not for a lack of intensity either. It's just been teams, in 40-minute games, we're getting scores in the high 80s into the 90s. Game one today ended 91-87. All right, here's that end of the half play. It's Moore to the corner. Godwin, he gets it off. It's no good. And that brings the half to a close.
Well, credit the defense there. The Sixers, they really kind of broke it up and then forced Godwin into a situation where he had to just try and improvise. Does get a shot away to his credit. I think it would have counted had it gone, but he didn't get a great look because of the scrambling defense there by the Sixers.
So the Grizzlies' halftime lead is 5 as they try to pick up a win here on day 2 of the NTX International Combine. We'll have more coverage in just a few moments. Stay with us. Back here at the Duncanville Fieldhouse for the second day of the NTX International Combine. Halftime between the Grizzlies and the Sixers in our final game of the Combine. And now we'll go to Kendra Sheehan, who's standing by with Grizzlies assistant coach Kevin Gilder-Tilbury.
Coach, you get the promotion today to head coach. Your team is up at 5 points at the half. What do you like about the fast-paced quality of play that you're seeing here in the first half from your team?
I'm liking it very much. It's a big difference from yesterday. They're sharing the ball more, a little bit more intensity, and they're playing together as a team. I'm liking it. I'm liking their efforts today, first half.
We saw you call a timeout with about 5 seconds left on the clock. How did the play that you drew up, how well was it executed there on the floor?
It almost was executed. Actually, my assistant coach, Akeem, kind of drew it up, and they liked it. It almost where I think it got tipped, and we got a shot off, but it just didn't go in. But I think it was a good play to run.
Marquise Godwin sunk 3 threes early on. What do you make of the way that he's lighting it up from the perimeter so far?
I'm just trying to find him shots. He's lighting it up. Just trying to get him going some more, trying to give him easy looks. He's capable of shooting off the dribble, catch and shoot, a lot of different ways. So just try to keep him involved, try to make him hard to guard.
Lastly, defensively, what adjustments would you make to slow down this high-scoring affair?
We got a few sets we can run. We got a few guards that can, control the offense a little bit. So when it gets down to that time, kind of slow it down, run a few sets to get some easy baskets, easy looks, open shots.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Turn it over to you, Evan.
Thanks, Kendra. About a minute to go here until the second half. Take a look at some of the top performers. Very balanced. Every player that appeared, all 14 of them got on the score sheet. Marquise Godwin made 3 out of 6 threes. He is the leading scorer with 11. His teammate Rudy Williams has 10. Both bigs for the Sixers, Ife Odeji and Isaiah Moore with 9. And as we look forward to the second half, Dave, what are you looking forward to seeing from these two teams?
I'm looking to see the adjustments that can be made here in terms of trying to get some half-court stuff going. Who's going to be able to slow down the other team from running? Because both these teams are just getting up and down the court and pretty much getting whatever they want and putting up a combined total of 93 points. So who's going to be able to lock in defensively and be able to force the other team to have to slow things down a little bit and do things in a half-court? And we'll see whether or not that's even going to be possible. But I think that, I want to be able to see what these guys can do in terms of locking down.
Been a remarkably even game. Teams have the same number of shots. The Sixers have just made 4 fewer. The rebounds are exactly the same. Only 9 total turnovers between the two teams in that first half, too. It felt like more than that with how fast the game was, but it was just mostly played in transition.
Yeah, it really was. And, there were, to me, we talked about the whistles or lack thereof. There were a combined total of 8 fouls called in that first half. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say there were more than 8 actual fouls that were committed, but there were only 8 whistles. So, but again, keep consistent with what you're doing and call it the same both ways, and coaches and players love that.
All right, teams coming back out. It is Williams, Godwin, Holmes, Liddell, and Lindo Jr. for the Grizzlies. For the Spurs, it'll be Adams, Anderson, Knight, Gardner, and Odeji. 20 minutes left to play here at the NTX International Combine. And it's Jaden Gardner immediately into action with points 5 and 6 for him today. Williams had it knocked away for a moment by Anderson, but gets it back. Lindo Jr. Turnaround jumper over Odeji, no good.
Like the move, the finish wasn't so great.
Odeji, free throw line J, that is butter.
And that's just great court awareness. You've got a big on you. Why you want to challenge him? Just take that free throw line jumper and drill it.
Odeji has 11 and 5 in 13 minutes. Three is in and out. Here's Anderson.
Oh.
Anderson slashing, scoring.
That was a great little fake on the move in reverse direction. Boogie Anderson, you heard Kendra talk about why he's got the nickname Boogie. He had the Boogie shoes on there.
Lindo Jr. steps behind the line and airballs it. That's his fourth three attempted in this game.
Yeah, I was just looking at that number myself, Evan. That's a lot of threes for Lindo Jr. in this one. As you said, trying to prove you can be a stretch four, but you also got to prove you can be the four as well.
Odeji lefty shot, no good. Liddell. Godwin, he can stroke it. That's just too strong. Holmes crashing for the board. Nice little bounce pass back to the cutting Godwin. Well done from Jaron Holmes.
Great anticipation. He never gave up on the play.
Godwin with 13 to lead all scores. And after a Sixers burst to start the half, it gets the Grizzlies back in the lead. Adams pulls up. No good from about 18 feet. Holmes all the way, no finish, gets his own miss, and misses the putback as well.
You know, I've seen Holmes a couple of times now, though, Evan. You know, he gets the ball in midcourt, and he already makes up his mind that he's going to go try to find a shot for himself. And we talked about being selfish in this combine and how important that is, but there's also, you've got, being selfish can also be trying to make the right play, and calling your own number every time does not necessarily constitute the right play.
It's worked out pretty well when Rudy Williams has done it. He's got 12 points.
Yes. Another productive day at the office for Rudy.
It would be no surprise at this point if he turns out to be the leading scorer from the two games. After 25 yesterday, we saw Dexter Dennis put up 28 in the first game today. Isaiah Sanders replaces Ricky Lindo Jr. for the Grizzlies.
Dexter Dennis was so good that Kendra's father came over to me between games and said, "Who was that guy 32? It was an impressive performance, to say the least.
Gardner no good off the inbound. Godwin pulls the trigger again. That's just short. Knight the board. Knight trying to save it, goes flying into the scorer's table, and fortunately was able to stop himself. That's not a NBA or college scorer's table over there.
Yeah, you're just happy there's nothing that was sharp under the table because his legs kind of went under it a little bit. But hey, credit Jaron Holmes again for being the guy who disrupted that and got the basketball back for his team ultimately.
Made his name on defense at St. Bonaventure. Spent last year at Iowa State. Godwin long two. Now that shooting touch has not quite come with him into the second half. Here goes Odeji. The big man rumbles through everybody.
Odeji having his way with everything that he's done in this combine.
Holmes backing down Anderson. This time he gets the finish.
That time Holmes got the shot within the flow of the offense. You like that a lot better.
Gardner fouled by Sanders.
Sanders with a swipe down. It's going to get you in trouble more times than not, as we talked about.
What do you make of Gardner so far?
I mean, I think that Gardner's been, I'd like to see him be a little bit more involved. I don't think he's been involved as much as I would have expected him to be. He's a guy that, came in here as one of the top-ranked players in this combine. Some of the scouts say he's for sure a guy that's likely to get a Las Vegas Summer League invite. And you just wonder with a guy like that, we talked about it yesterday. How much are you aware of what the scouts are saying? And it's a fine line, right? Because you don't want to overexert yourself if you feel like you got certain things that are likely to happen. But you're here. You got to make a good impression. And I feel like Gardner could be a little bit more assertive than he has been.
He's got 8 points in this game. Had 11 yesterday, but was just 3 of 12 from the field. Here's Holmes, again looking right up at the basket, end of the shot clock. That is a 24-second violation.
And again, that's one of those adjustments that you've got to make. Those extra 6 seconds make a world of difference.
Grizzlies' lead is 1. This has been within 7 or so the entire way.
Yeah, these have been some good games.
even when it looks like it might turn into a blowout, the other team just comes back.
Absolutely. That's what we saw in the first game.
Adams dumps to the corner. Gardner for three. Too strong. Rebound by Liddell. Now Sanders challenging Anderson. Draws the foul.
Nice job by Sanders attacking, and he had Anderson backpedaling. So Sanders saw that and takes advantage of it. Gets a chance here to go to the line. I like what I've seen in the minutes that he's been on the floor here today. Only 7 points yesterday.
Sanders had just 2 in the first half of this game. But he's going to be more of a glue guy rather than someone who's a primary initiator.
Yeah, I agree with that. We talked about him yesterday coming out of Sicklerville, New Jersey, Fairmont State. He's got to show that he can do more than just shoot a three, because that's all he did at Fairmont State. 57% of his shot attempts were threes.
And he made a ton of them, too. Anderson puts it in for 2. You know, it is hard, but not impossible to get to that next level from Division II. Got a couple of those guys here at this tournament. Liddell for 3, the former Texas Longhorn, with his first triple.
And it seemed like the lid was on the basket for a little while over there for the Grizzlies. They might have something finally working.
Gerald Liddell spent last year at Detroit Mercy, had a big breakout season, averaged 14 and 10. Seneca Knight for 3, and the response.
Seneca Knight. He's been a nice player, a nice invite to this combine.
Moore, oh, that's going to count for Liddell. Moore slapped him on the hand trying to get the ball.
And Moore is not real happy with the outcome, but it's certainly the right call. And the
You heard the hand slap.
Yeah, and the whistles are blown a little bit more frequently here in this second half.
Gerald Liddell stepping up for the Grizzlies when they needed somebody to make some shots. Free throw is good. 9 for Liddell, and the Grizzlies lead back out to 4. A lob for Knight. He caught it, goes up, count the basket, and a foul.
That's good awareness by Cooper.
Oh, no, they called an offensive foul.
They did. I think Cooper was hoping that Knight was going to be able to catch it and dunk it and not have to come back down with it.
So no basket for Knight. Grizzlies ball up 4. Liddell again. Sanders at the elbow. Pulls up. Got it. He likes to knock down that shot.
He's done it effectively.
Nice little addition to his bag. Lead out to 6. Gardner cuts right back into it. He's into double figures.
All right, right when we say Gardner needs to be more assertive, he's starting to make things happen.
Williams attacking Cooper. Moore from behind swats it out of bounds.
Cooper might have gotten away with a foul on the slap down ahead of time, although I heard something. He might have hit ball.
Inbound will come from Jalen Moore. 4-point ball game. Holmes cuts to the corner. Holmes for 3. High arcing shot is short. Sanders catches the miss.
Well contested there by Moore.
Sanders, that's his bread and butter. 42% career three-point shooter at the Division II level. Averaged nearly 20 a game, over 113 career appearances for Fairmont State. Lob down to Moore for the jam.
Yeah, and that's going to be there all day. If Moore's going to get a mouse in the house, you feed him and let him do that.
Yeah, Rudy Williams, probably not who was intended to be the post defender there.
Yeah, there was a switch there. Liddell was supposed to be the one on him. And now on the other end, they've worked it in for Liddell.
Liddell's into double figures with 11. Gardner on the other end, the track meet starting up again.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Gardner's got 12, 8 since halftime. Starting to step up. Maybe he heard you, Dave. Liddell, backdoor cut, Williams.
Points aplenty. Are we going to get our first 100-point game of this combine?
What's happened is we've been around 50 at halftime of all 4 games, and then the teams will slow down in the second half. Not happening here. Moore with 2 more.
No slowdown in Isaiah Moore.
He's out to 13. Here's Williams again. Holmes off the catch. Up and under, and in, and a foul.
And how about that reaction on the floor? Ha! And he did a great job of using the rim to shield the shot. And really, Moore had committed to try and go up for a block, and there was nothing really he could do.
And that's swat down.
That's swat down.
Puts Holmes at the line. Odeji will check back in. Melvin Hunt will play with the 2 bigs. Lindo Jr. returning to pair with Liddell in the front court for the Grizzlies. Big lineups in for both teams. Holmes short on his free throw. The Grizzly lead is 7. Odeji. Lindo Jr. strips it clean. And Jalen Moore picks up a foul on Isaiah Moore going across the floor. That might be the
take foul
in the NBA.
I was thinking exactly that. There's a good chance that could have been a take foul in the NBA.
That rule was a big success this year, I think.
And a much needed adjustment.
Instead of seeing a ton of one shots, though, you basically just saw the take foul go away.
Right.
Which was the intention.
Exactly. And that means the rule was totally working. One thing you got to tip your cap to, Adam Silver and the NBA. They're not afraid to be innovative and try things that'll improve the game.
Seneca Knight, nice move in the jam.
That crossover was ridiculous. Marquise Godwin is still wondering what happened.
He was at full speed when he made that move, too. Slick stuff from Seneca Knight. Lindo Jr. on the pick and roll. Knocked away by Moore. Moore's second try is a foul. Lindo Jr. will shoot 2.
Here's the thing with Moore. He's collecting some blocks, but I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and saying, okay, you know that you can't foul out. So you can be as aggressive as you want to be in this setting. And so that's the one thing I don't love necessarily about the players not being able to foul out here is the fact that, you know, that you need to see how they're going to be able to adjust and play when they know that they can't commit fouls by swiping down.
Lindo Jr. into double figures with that first free throw. The second is good as well. How about this? All 7 players are between 8 and 14 points for the Grizzlies. It's been extremely balanced. Everybody contributing. Cooper for 3. That's good. Cooper didn't score yesterday. He's got 11 here this afternoon.
Nobody picked him up, so he says, all right, you want to give me that shot, I'll take it.
Now it's Jalen Moore. Moore picks up Odeji on the switch. It's out to Holmes, drills a 3.
And again, Holmes, you play within the offense, shots will come to you, and you'll have a chance to make them.
Odeji backing down Lindo Jr. draws the contact. We are seeing more calls here, for sure, in this second half as the physicality is really ramped up.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was a conversation between the officials and maybe the coaches at halftime saying, hey, you know, we appreciate that you're calling it loose, but, you know, let's tighten it up just a little bit. You don't want this thing getting too wild.
Odeji to shoot a pair. Misses badly.
That was ugly. that was no other way to describe
He's
that.
a good free throw shooter. Made 5 out of 6 yesterday, but he's missed both of his tries here today.
That last one should count as 2 misses.
Took a thud. Second one rolls in. 14 for Odeji, tied for the game high. His team trailing by 5. High-scoring finale here at the NTX International Combine. Holmes another 3. Another switch for Jaron Holmes.
That's all you need to do. Just be in the flow of the offense, and suddenly it's working beautifully for him.
Odeji grabs the rebound and will get fouled by Holmes.
I mean, there was also another foul there as well. Odeji got Ricky Lindo Jr. in the face.
He's just so big and strong.
I mean, I think the foul on Odeji was worse than the foul that they sending him to the line.
He's going to get another chance at some free throws here. And that one barely hit anything.
That one was so clean that it looked like a miss.
It was amazing. I mean, it barely rattled the net.
You can't hit more true center than that.
So he misses ugly and he makes pretty.
There's not a hole in that net, is there? Like, seriously, like, it kind of from my angle, it looks...
I see it too. We're at a weird angle to be able to tell.
And that net has been getting caught up on the rim a lot these last 2 days.
I think there is,
I think
Dave. In fact, I see a little string hanging down.
Yeah,
so that explains the almost no movement on the make.
Yeah.
Odeji gets both. Williams corner 3. That is good. They have 85 points with 9:15 to go.
I think we're going to get 100 here.
It certainly seems that way.
They've literally burned the holes in the nets.
And the Sixers have stayed in the game despite this ridiculous shooting. Here's Cooper, who's been hot. That's good. It's still a 6-point game. This has been some crazy shot making from these two teams. Jalen Moore, let's see what the Grizzlies cook up. Moore just pulls up, in and out, rebounded by Odeji. Lobbed ahead, Isaiah Moore. Nice feed from Adams. And Moore sticks it in. 4-point game.
Shows off the athleticism there. Didn't have the dunk, but he twirled and tickles the twine.
They all count the same. Rudy Williams off the catch, driving. He'll go to the free throw line. Rudy Williams has really impressed across these 2 games. 25 yesterday, 17 today. For more on him, let's go to Kendra.
And so he sees an opportunity to go to the States, Florida specifically, to a prep school where he could focus on basketball. He started at a JUCO school, made pit stops at K-State, Coastal Carolina, and finally BYU. Now, when he was at BYU, head coach Mark Pope switched Williams from a starting role to a 6-man position. He said in all his years of coaching, he had never seen a player continue to be such a positive leader and a mentor in his new role. Williams said he just keeps pushing. He knows that if he can make it, he can change his family's life and also put a smile on his mom's face. Evan?
Gotta love these stories. Thank you, Kendra. Rudy Williams has really impressed here this week. As a miss from Cooper out of the corner. And a travel by Jalen Moore.
Going back to what Kendra said, I mean, you notice a theme here, and I guess it's perfectly in line with the fact that we're coming up on Mother's Day. It's all about mom. All these players, it's all about mom.
Cooper on the drive, sticks it in. Cooper's made up for lost time today. He's got 16 points.
And he's feeling it now, too. He's saying, give me the basketball, I want it.
Sanders misses the reply. Anybody's game here. Moore was going for the steal. Cooper's got it. Somehow keeps his handle, and Odeji sticks it in.
Yeah, and that set them up with numbers, but now a leak out on the other side.
And Moore gets the points right back. Every player for the Grizzlies is
Uh-oh.
in double figures except Sanders, who has 9. Cooper a little shaken up, holding his groin there.
The officials saw that and actually stopped the play.
Hopefully Cooper just needs to take a little time. Boogie Anderson checking in.
Didn't catch what happened, and it was, a little bit surprising because, you saw the leak out there for the easy bucket. Moore wasn't contested at all. So away from the play, but he's sitting there on the bench, doesn't seem to really be acting like he's in pain, so that's good.
Otoji, corner 3, beautiful. He's got 21.
How about a barn burner to go down to finish our last game, Evan?
89-88. Miss on the other end. Otoji the rebound. Here he comes. Gardner against Lindo Jr. He'll get a chance to give the Sixers the lead at the free throw line.
What a comeback.
Again?
Yeah, we've seen this be a common thread throughout this combine, and it continues again here today.
Well, NBA games, more than college games, tend to be games of runs. These guys getting used to that.
A double-digit lead in the NBA today is nothing.
Yep. Gardner knocking him down from the free throw line. He hasn't missed at this combine, 10 out of 10. And I did it again.
Yeah, you certainly did.
Tie game, 89-89. Liddell to Williams. Ooh, sliding. Williams and Knight. It'll stay with the Grizzlies. Fortunately, it looks like Williams is okay. He and Knight exchange pleasantries.
Yeah, Jermaine Chase and Nayan Nambiar talking it over, and they're going to give the basketball to the other way.
Going the other way. 89-89 with an eternity left, too. Seen some incredible offensive performances in this game. Otoji 21, Williams 19 on the other side. Carter, offensive foul.
Uh-oh. And now Lindo is...
Ricky Lindo a little shaken up.
Yeah, appears to be okay.
He's going to run it off. Lindo Jr. was on the Sixers yesterday. He was moved over to the Grizzlies after Angelo Allegri suffered an injury in the first game yesterday and was unable to compete today.
And now they've got the smallest towel they could find to wipe up the moisture on the court.
Cooper, thankfully, was able to run it out and back, so that should be a good sign for him.
I wonder if Cooper might have just been out of gas. I mean, the pace they were going.
It was pretty wild how fast-paced this game has been. All of them have been, but this game, I think, has taken the crown. Here's Williams, and a travel.
Well, who's going to be the cleanest with the basketball going down the stretch? You can't afford turnovers if you want to try and come out of here with a W. And you know what? At this point, Evan, I want to see this thing. I want to see this outcome matter to these players. Not that it does, and it's not going to, but from a pure spectator standpoint, let's see some drama and some tight defense and some good offense to finish this.
Well, we've seen more stops in the last few minutes. The hot shooting has cooled a little bit, and we'll get a foul as Godwin drove the lane.
We've seen way more whistles. We had only 8 in the first half. I don't know how many we're up to now here in the second half.
Certainly more than 8.
Yes.
Isaiah Moore again. Oh, that wouldn't count, that block. He is everywhere.
Isaiah Moore, I don't know how many fouls he's picked up in this game, but it might be 8 at this point. And not all of them were called.
Yeah, that first half, these guys basically had free reign. So Godwin makes both. That puts the Grizzlies in the lead. He's got 15. Only 3 guys out of the 14 are in single digits. Anderson working on Williams, pulls up, doesn't get the roll. Lindo Jr. the rebound. Lindo Jr.'s got a chance to walk out of here 2-0, even if nobody else in this game does.
That's a brilliant point. I hadn't thought about that.
It'll be the Spurs team and Ricky Lindo Jr. Adams short from 3. Here's Sanders. Williams, pull up 3-pointer, in and out, hit the rim 3 times. Here goes Adams the other way. Seneca Knight for 3. That is good, and it gives the Sixers the lead.
This comeback by the Sixers has been very, very good. And you know what? It's been just steady. They've just been steady playing within themselves to get this lead.
Sanders too strong, tracked his miss. Now the mid-range shot. That's no good. Lindo Jr. fighting through the trees. Now it's Williams finding Godwin. Steps around Knight. Pulled up Jay off the glass and in.
And Godwin really wanted that 3, but he wasn't seen in time. And you know what? He said, all right, I'm going to not be able to take the 3, but let me see what I can go inside and get, and it pays off.
17 for Godwin out of Hampton. Grizzlies back in front, under 4 to play. Brendan Adams dumps it off to Moore. Little no-look dish, and Moore with a jam. Sixers back in front.
I think both these teams are getting to 100.
Certainly looking that way. 94-93 with 3:30 to go. Godwin against Knight. Lindo Jr. in the low post has a good matchup. Misses the floater. Rebound Isaiah Moore. Gardner in transition. Gardner behind the back dribble. Lays it in.
How about that move? That's why the scouts think that he's got a shot at the next level. And, you know, he just turns it on when he needs to, although now he gets up a little slowly.
And just a little banged up falling down there.
And I don't know if he tweaked his leg or his ankle there when he put the move on or on the finish, but he's going to stay in the game, so that's good.
Isaiah Moore checking out. Odeji back in, presumably for the final 3:11 here. He has 21 to lead all scorers. Rudy Williams with 19. Isaiah Moore and Marquise Godwin 17 apiece. And the Sixers, after trailing for most of this game, find themselves in front here with just over 3 minutes to go. Rudy Williams, that's a 2. It's no good. Rebounded by Knight. Sanders got a piece. No, they're calling a foul.
Yeah, that's an obvious call there against Sanders. You admire the aggressiveness, but no sense in committing a foul that far away from the basket at this stage of the game.
Adams, Anderson, Knight, Gardner, and Odeji for the Sixers, leading by 3. Williams, Godwin, Holmes, Liddell, and Lindo Jr. for the Grizzlies. Little floater from Odeji gets it to go.
It's a friendly roll for Efe Odeji.
Rudy Williams to Godwin on the 3, no good. Rebound Anderson, and the Sixers threatening to pull away here. They're on a 6-0 run, and they've got the basketball.
They can make it a 3-possession game if they can get a bucket.
Anderson kicks to Knight, down to the baseline. Gardner hits the jumper. Gardner with 17, and suddenly our first 100-point game, and they're up by 7.
Well, you got Ralph Lawler made it famous. Lawler's Law, first team to 100 is going to win. And that might hold true here.
Godwin really needed that. Now Odeji on the leak out, puts it in. 25 for Efe Odeji, and a timeout for the Grizzlies as this one has suddenly slipped away from them.
This one looking like it's definitely going into the win column for the Sixers. They're going to be able to leave here 2-0 if it holds. And the question becomes, who are we looking at for our player of the game, Evan? Because there were a lot of good contributions up and down.
You know who I'm going to pick. It's got to be 25.
Yeah, well, ODG was good. Cooper was good at times. Gardner turned it on when he needed to.
Really good second half for Gardner.
Seneca Knight was just consistent throughout. But in a vacuum, if I didn't know ODG had gotten the nod yesterday, I probably would be more inclined to say, yes, let's give it to ODG right away again today. He did start the game off impressively as well, though.
Yeah, he's played more minutes today. Only played 15 minutes in that game yesterday. Today was at 12 minutes in the first half of it. Unfortunately, we don't have access to live statistics. I would imagine he's somewhere in the low to mid-20s at this point.
Yeah, he's played considerably more today, and he's impacted the game when he's been out there. There's no question about that. So I wouldn't argue with giving it to Effie ODG for a second straight day.
Got to shout out Godwin on the other side. Rudy Williams had a really nice tournament. Right now, he is the leading scorer for the Combine by 1 point over ODG.
Well, that's been impressive. He's just hasn't been able to do it in a winning fashion here today. And yesterday, same thing.
Seeing some of this run here by the Sixers down the stretch to really pull away. It's been impressive. I'm only sad that we don't get to see the Spurs and the Sixers play a championship game. I'd love to see that.
Well, that would be fun. But, these players, they came here what they came to do. They're not,
Yes.
Nobody's putting an NTX Combine trophy on their shelf, that's for sure.
It's just the fan in me, I suppose. Final 90 seconds or so. Williams steps back. No shot. Good defense by Adams. Holmes hoists it up. Not even close.
And a great job defensively there by the Sixers. They didn't give the Grizzlies anything to work with offensively.
Three for Knight. And that should just about wrap it up if there was any doubt left.
Yeah, it's a 12-point margin with a minute to go. And I might stand corrected here. I'm not sure the Grizzlies are getting to 100 in this one.
They just went cold. The lid slammed down on the bucket at the end. They were at 89 with, about 4 minutes left? A little more?
Yeah, I think more. I'm going to say almost 5. 4:35, 4:53 seems to stand out in my head. A 3 and a 5.
But it's the Sixers who've pulled away.
Oh!
There is Adams for the jam. Williams, pull up 3. That is no good.
Just got to get it across.
They're going to have some fun. Oh, Gardner misses the alley-oop. But that'll wrap things up here from the NTX International Combine. So many impressive performances on this stage. And the Sixers get to take both wins. 25 for Effie Otoji. They had 5 players with at least 14 points in a 107-95 win.
Everybody on the roster really today made contributions. I mean, when you've only got 7 guys, you would expect that to be the case. But I thought Cooper was good in stretches. Gardner was good when he needed to be. Adams had some flashes. Isaiah Moore, probably doesn't stay on the floor in a game in which fouls are actually counting. But, yeah, he took advantage of the rules not working against him, and he impacted the game as well. But you're right, ODG was the guy today.
He's going to have a really nice career if what he did today and yesterday is any indication. A lot of bright futures here in Duncanville. One of them belonging to Seneca Knight. We didn't even know he was going to be here until yesterday's game. He's had 2 straight really impressive performances. He's talking with Kendra Sheehan.
Seneca, you've had 2 really solid games, 14 points today. How would you describe your performance in this match?
I describe it as it was pretty good. It was a great group of guys I was playing with. We moved the ball, and they was able to find me on open shots, so that helped out a lot.
What did you see on that big-time jam in the first half?
Nothing but the rim. Honestly, nothing but the rim and just jump as high as I can.
This was such team basketball. Almost every guy on the roster had double figures at one point. How would you describe the way that this group was able to collectively play basketball together, having only played and known each other for the past 48 hours?
Yeah, I'll say it helps a lot with, IQ. On my team, a lot of us knew the game. We had a good coach. He emphasized if we all pass the ball and share the ball, then we all could eat.
What type of chip do you have on your shoulder as you look to live out those childhood dreams and go professional basketball?
I have a major chip. Everybody always slept on me or just under the radar, and I just kept working. So every time I step on the floor, I just want to give it my all.
If you had one message to those who are looking to scout you and take you to the next level, what would that be?
You'll get a player who's a competitor, who's not going to quit, and whatever coach needs, I'm going to go out there and do.
Thanks, Seneca. It's been a pleasure watching you. We'll toss it back over to you, Evan.
Thank you so much, Kendra. Great work the last couple of days. And a guy that we won't be sleeping on anymore, Seneca Knight. We found out about him about 24 hours ago and certainly opened some eyes here in Duncanville. All right, Dave, final thoughts from a really fun couple of days of basketball here.
I just want to give a shout out to Pete Michael and Ernie Campo putting on a fantastic tournament here in its third year since getting established in 2021 and getting some top level competition to come here. And clearly these guys have played for a long time at the college level and been very impactful, and they're giving these players a chance to realize their dream to play at the next level. And the coaches had the players ready. The players came to play today, and they were at this combine fully focused in, knowing what the stakes are. So this has just been a fantastic event. To tip of the cap all the way around to everybody involved, and a pleasure to be involved with this. And I think this event's going to continue to only get bigger and better.
All right, really fun game today, and we're going to send it out here from the Duncanville Fieldhouse. Our final score of our last game, 107-95, the Sixers win it, but all in all, a great chance for these young men to finish things up and show off what they can do as combine season is just getting rolling. A bunch of young guys trying to achieve a professional dream. Alongside Dave Benz and Kendra Sheehan, from all of us, thank you so much for joining. I'm Evan Weston signing off from Duncanville. We have had a great time. You've been watching the NTX International Combine.